Hi guys, this is the first Conclave of Har Podcast. I've got Lee here with me and we're just going to discuss some stuff that we've just been talking about really over the last week or so. So let's see how we go.
You probably know that because a lot of you have also been talking about it on the Facebook page, so please do keep doing that. We do enjoy it.
Yes, let us know what you think. Right, first of all, according to this list, Lee's very organised. Dark Elves.
Yes, where should we start?
Well, let's start with the new stuff. We've been blessed literally half an hour before Lee turned up. Got some pictures from the Army book of the Wave 2 releases. So we'll talk about those first of all.
Very surprising that we've seen Wave 2 so far in advance. Not surprising because it's in the book, but it does raise questions about the initial release schedule for these models. It
does, yeah. They could have been in the book for a while. The other thing is, if they do this with other models, these could be the most far in advance leaks that we actually get.
Well, for a couple of years, probably, yeah. I think because we had the Apocalypse stuff early, didn't we?
Well, yeah, there's some stuff that shows up in books years in advance, but I mean...
Well, yeah, the Demon Prince...
Generally, I mean, they release stuff with the Codex sometimes. It hasn't even got the new models in it. I think the Dark Eldar Codex is quite lacking on the new models. It hasn't got the Razor Wing or anything like that.
That's a deliberate strategy, though, isn't it? No.
Deliberate bastard strategy by GW.
I think the Chapter House case meant that if they don't produce a model for it, then it's free reign for anyone else who wants to produce a model for it.
Doesn't mean they have to put pictures of the new models in the books though. So,
but I think that happened after the Dark Eldar Codex. I think the Dark Eldar Codex was the last one where there's a new unit introduced in the book where there isn't an actual
picture of it in the Codex.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, we've got pictures of these new models, and yeah, they're all right. I think there's some nice bits there. Definitely, I think a bit uninspired in places, and you really don't like that chariot, do you?
Well, I like the first wave of Dark Elf models. I like not because I want Dark Elves, but because I can chop them up and use them for the Dark Eldar army that I've had in a dusty cupboard for ages. And they'll make them look much better.
Yeah,
not that they need improving. They're really nice models, Dark Eldar models.
But it'd be nice to be able to add some bits to it, and also those models are fairly old now, so it'd be nice to bring something new to all those other Dark Eldar armies that are out.
Not that old. They stand up brilliantly in the test of time.
No, what I mean though is, at the moment, if you bring out your Dark Eldar army, it's going to look the same as everybody else's Dark Eldar army. So it's like a new, because we're not going to get new Dark Eldar models for another 10 years.
And we can't buy bits.
Yeah, exactly. This is some nice new bits that we can use. Well, no, not anymore.
I don't think there are any specific bits for Dark Elves or Dark Eldar in the market at the moment.
No, not really.
No, that's something for
somebody. Not been tapped onto.
If somebody knows somebody who wants to do that, by all means, push them in that direction, because...
I dare say Chapter House being given free reign, they might start doing a few bits and pieces here and there.
Cybor, Spellcrow doing a lot of really nice.
I'm going to have to check out that Spellcrow. I've not seen any of their stuff, actually.
Well, let's put links to that on the Conclave Facebook page. We're
let's
making this up as we go.
Yeah, let's do that. No, we are totally making. I've literally got a bit of paper here with 6 key words on it that we're going to talk about, and yeah. Anyway, so yes,
unit by unit, let's have a look at the most boring one, in my opinion, which is the what they call the horse people. You got the warlocks,
the Dark Riders.
The Dark Riders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, from a 40k point of view, there's not much I can do with that, but they don't look that interesting, to be honest with you.
They look more in line with the news, because obviously the old ones were very sort of, if I remember correctly, dark cloaks, sitting upright, very sort of like early 5th, 6th edition Warhammer.
Yeah, standard elf plastic horse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your normal sort of. But I think I preferred that to this new, very goofy, spindly,
some sort of half rabbit horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Donkey.
Yeah,
like a donkey.
Precisely. Yes. So yes, we are saying that the Dark Riders are arses, basically.
There are pictures of these up on the Facebook page for you to look at. If you've not already done so.
Yeah, they're all right. I mean, I think the Warlocks look like somebody's been reading too much, or watching rather too much Game of Thrones.
Certainly, the paint scheme makes you think that, but I haven't had a proper look at.
There's something weird going on with their hair.
So I've not. Yeah, I think, is it hair or is it tendrils like the old demonettes with the mini breasts used to have?
It could be, actually. I honestly don't know. There might be more explained in the actual army book.
But as you said, the chariots.
Yes.
I don't understand how that works. It hasn't got any wheels. It's not off the ground, so it's not levitating at all. It just seems to be dragged along by whatever is at the front, whether it's the horses or the cold ones.
Yeah.
And someone's modelled a rock between the chariot and the steeds that are pulling it, and that's just going to end in disaster.
No inbuilt suspension, spikes on the front of the chariot. It's going to go straight in the back of the horses and the cold one the first time they hit something, isn't it? So
someone needs to explain that to us before we pass judgment. But something that looks like it's been dragged along the ground, and it's not a very interesting looking chariot anyway. It's just like a big bowl, with spikes on the bottom, and elves sitting in it like a teacup.
I think it might be the rule of cool. I think it could be a case of somebody's gone that looks awesome, and we don't like wheels anymore. Wheels are so last decade.
Well, the high elves use wheels.
You know,
I know Malekith banned the use of chariots for a long time, but I don't think the reason he's brought them back is for some sort of sadistic Emperor's New Clothes thing.
No.
Chariots are brilliant. You should ride chariots.
I think what we can agree on is those chariots are going to look much better on the back of a raider.
I reckon that if you put wheels on them, they look much better.
They probably would do, actually.
I mean, it can't be that hard to find some nice wheels and shove some spikes on
I don't know why. As I say, it is just for the sake of being different. I think they've taken the wheels off.
Until White Dwarf comes out next month, and it is going to be a whole month before we find out, we won't know.
No, that's right. So what else did we get? We got what looks like a dual kit for the Executioners and Blackguard. Which
I think they've taken iconic miniatures that had their own look, albeit they were both heavily armoured elves with big weapons, but they've taken those models and they've made them blander.
Yes.
So the Executioners are the ones with the skull mask.
That's right, yeah.
That skull mask is really cool, but I don't think it fits very well with the aesthetic of that army.
No.
They need the tall helmets.
Yep.
I know
I love the heavily armoured look. They look like
They don't look that heavily
What
armoured
armour save did they have? They look like they had it. Now I don't know.
Probably 3+.
Yeah, I would think it was probably a 3+, exactly. And now they don't. They just look like slightly better armoured dread spears. I think the Blackguard and the Executioners are a perfect example of when a dual kit doesn't work.
Yes. I mean, again, the helmets really and the weapons. The helmets and the weapons are the two things that define those models if you break it right down to the basics. But I like the mesh veil that the Blackguard had over their faces. That nobody else had something like that. It made them stand up.
Well, I think, like I said, the new helmets they've come up with for the Blackguard look exactly the same as those Dark Eldar ones. I swear I could pick out a picture of a Dark Eldar helmet. Not all of them, but there was a variant of helmet that looks very much like what the Dark Eldar now.
Those helmets are supposed to be sort of half closed, half. So
yes, you can see their face just inside.
Yeah, you can just see it, but there's not enough of that to paint. There's not enough to make that stand out. The eyes, of course, are 28mm scale, so they're 30mm, depending on what you think Games Workshop's up to now. But
it's called 28mm hero scale, I believe.
So their eyes are really small. You can't make them distinctive. So the heads are like tiny little squished faces.
Yeah,
it doesn't look intimidating.
There's nothing about them that really pops. Although, as I say, those heads will end up on one of my Dark Eldar units. But yeah, I think they've had to make a dual unit and only the heads and the weapons are different. I think that the fact the body has to be the same because it's a dual build body, and obviously they don't want to give you two completely different kits in one thing, which is something we'll get on with in a minute with Witch Elves. I think that's where that kit suffers. Yeah, mainly.
Yeah, I'm not blown away by those, and I was expecting to be. I was expecting that kit out of all of the second wave kits to be the one that everyone goes, wow.
I thought they'd have more identity, definitely.
Yes, but they don't.
Which leaves us.
Well, no, we've got that character.
Yeah, Jake the Peg. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Mr. Swordleg himself. Nice idea. Well, nice model, but he's got a stupid leg, basically, hasn't he?
As an elf, he can get away with having such a... He's got a cutlass for a peg leg, but he's a very slender elven cutlass.
Yeah.
When I was looking at the pictures on the way here, I didn't see it because it's so thin, and the angle of the picture meant that I thought he was leaning. He was doing one of the Shadow Blade. He had a pose.
Yeah.
But no.
Right, like on one leg sort of thing. Yeah. No, he has a sword for a leg.
Yeah, you've shown it to me now. I've seen it. It looks... the angle. It's the angle you look at it from. I don't think it works particularly. I
think if he fights in the desert against the Tomb Kings, he's screwed.
If he had two, side by side...
Yeah.
Give it a little bit more bulk, that would have worked. But... No, but I like the collar with the
the rest of the model's nice. Yeah. It's in line with the Corsair stuff. I think it's really nice. I think if you... I presume it's plastic, we don't know for sure, but it looks like GW, another thing we should talk about at some point, it looks like Finecast is getting left behind, but we'll maybe leave that for another time.
I have heard reasons for that, but
it's crap.
We'll devote a bit of...
We'll talk about that later, yeah. But yeah, being plastic or Finecast, whatever he is certainly not metal. It'd be easy to hack off that leg, put something more sensible there, and you've got a really, really nice character model. So
is that all for the second one?
I'm pretty sure that was all of Wave
We don't have it right in front of us because we're using the computer to record.
And I could. For some reason, Chrome's not coming up.
Oh, it's not a problem.
Anyway, I think that's the end of wave 2. So
wave 1.
Back to wave 1.
We have talked about this quite a bit, but let's just go over what we said.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the wave 1 models.
Yeah.
They're decent Warhammer models, but they're even decent chopping fodder for Dark Eldar.
Yeah. I think all of us saw that statue on the back of the
Dark Avatar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or allied Eldar in a Dark Eldar army.
Yeah.
And my plan is to make some Dark Avengers using the Dark Spears, or maybe even these Executioners that look evil.
Yeah.
Just standing. They don't need
skirts in Warhammer. That's a Dark Angel thing, isn't it?
No. They all look fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm sure you'd be able to come up with something. I mean, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to see bits of this. And I mean, if you put the spikes off, you could probably even use it as a Craft World avatar. It's got. His arms are out like this, but it's all plastic.
Well,
it's all plastic. You can chop it and change it and do it.
Yeah, I was looking at the spear-armed Forge World avatar today.
Yeah.
And you just chop off the blades, paint it up nice. It is a nice model. It looks a bit bland compared to an avatar because there's not a huge amount of detail on its limbs.
No.
Just big blades. It reminds me very much of the Unleashed Catan from the Tesseract Vault.
Yeah,
which is supposed to be a big, powerful monster, but it's not got an awful lot going on.
I think you'd look at it and straight away you know it's plastic.
Yes. Yeah. Which is a shame because plastic models don't need to be like that.
No. But there's definitely potential.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Medusa.
Yeah. I'm
already eyeing up that left arm because that would make a brilliant agonizer for an Archon.
Don't know the scale of it yet. I think that Medusa's pretty tall.
Well, at Dark Eldar play around with their physiology. It's alright if they've got one arm bigger than the other.
I'm going to call him Fiddler Crab.
Maybe if they've got two really long arms, because they reach out and grab people like scary, freaky vampires.
Scary, freaky vampires. Is that really what you're going for?
Scary, freaky vampires. Who has one arm ending and his hand is his elbow for his next bit of arm. Really elongated arms are creepy.
Fair enough. Dark Eldar. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Creepy, scary vampires. Okay. Yeah. You heard it here first.
Take the structure of that model and build it into...
I don't like it. I really do. It does feel like it needs a fighter jet to pull up alongside it so that people can get up using the little stairs.
It does look like a carriageway for...
But again, if you look at your... I don't know if you've got the White Dwarf, but in the White Dwarf there is a sketch. Have you seen it?
Yes.
There's a sketch of the original plans for it.
More wheels.
More wheels, but the wheels are kind of... small. It looks more grand.
If you look at the model, there's a space where those wheels could have gone.
Yeah.
But yes, and the avatar, the Cain statue, was at about weight. It was still standing, but the floor where the dice for the cauldron was, that was about waist height. But I think because they've stuck Hellebrand or one of the witch elves on there, they needed the Cainite statue to be higher up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Hellebrand's not very good.
No, she's not. It's another plastic model.
I understand their reasoning for not doing her really old, but maybe that's a good thing because Games Workshop's plastic version of an old Hellebrand would have been dismally poor compared to how some of the other companies' models who do alternative, and I mean alternative in that they're not skinny, bikini-clad, big-breasted women.
What are you trying to say? Yeah, I think the problem with Hellebrand, it could just be the paint again, but the lines don't seem to be very well defined as...
No, well she's not an integral part of the kit, is she? She's an add-on.
She's an add-on, yeah, exactly. And I do kind of like that. I like the fact that with the big kits, you're getting a model that can either be mounted on the thing, or if you just to build the other thing, you get another character. That's nice, you know.
I was discussing it with someone last week, that there's potential to have a plastic Malekith body with the chariot, because Malekith used to ride a chariot, Cold One chariot, which is then compatible with the seated legs of the Dreadlord with the plastic Black Dragon.
Okay, yeah. So you could have Malekith on Dragon, yeah.
Also have him on foot. But looking at the kit, I don't think they could. I think Malekith would look embarrassed.
Yeah.
One of those chariots being chugged around, no suspension.
I'm sure
his helmet just sort of askew.
I'm sure the Witch King would not care for his bumpy ride,
especially with his. He'd be holding a sword in one hand, hanging on for dear life with the other, and if his helmet went askew, he's got no way of putting it right. So
speaking about the Black Dragon, we'll move on to the other monster that we've got. The Happy Hydra.
Isn't wonderful? It looks like Jim Henson's mate.
It's awful.
You've got Grover. Cookie Monster, Kermit the Frog, Zippy, Bungle, and Elmo. Someone needs to do a conversion of these heads.
They really do. What I will say in its defence, that I mean, the colour they've chosen for it is just the worst. It's not actually its teeth and everything. It's got these scales that, unfortunately, the way it's been painted looks like it's got great big teeth.
I will say it does look impressive lined up against the actual army because it is rather tall.
The other one they've painted looks alright.
I do like the design of the Cryptis. Yeah, that's more the traditional colour scheme that they
that looks a bit better.
The one we're looking at is in White Dwarf. It's on page 20 if you've got it.
It's like a dark greeny teal colour. It looks, and black, lots of black, and I think that looks better. I just don't know if I'd say I like it. The pose of it is somewhat awkward, but it's not a total write-off.
Trish Carden does good work, but
she does some good work.
That's what I was trying to do. More poetically than that, but you've hit the nail on the head.
Some stuff that Trish Carden does, or Trish Morrison as we used to know her.
She gave me a dirty look once. I don't know why.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. It was just at Games Day.
Maybe it's because you didn't do anything.
No, we were at a Games Day, and she was sat at a table, and she had a load of little samples out where she'd sculpted fur, feathers, and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at them very intently, going, "Wow!" I was just thinking to myself, and I sort of looked up, and she had this glare on her face. She was glaring at me for some reason.
Maybe she's not used to having her work that closely scrutinised. That would explain the Hydra.
Well, I don't know what I've ever done to upset her, but
Trish, if you're listening, we do love some of your stuff. The Hydra, I have to say, is a bit of a miss.
Warhammer Forge stuff is amazing.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
I think it is the studio's design philosophy where a monster can't look like a real life animal.
Yeah.
Which, when it came to Chimera, was a huge.
Oh, what the storm? Don't talk about the Storm Magic.
The Chimera was a huge disadvantage.
That
because
was
if you're going to make a monster that's supposed to look like something and then make it not look like the things it's supposed to look like, then that monster doesn't look how it should.
Yeah, exactly.
If you follow that.
This is a mix of a lizard, a lion, and what else?
But I do like the Cryptis. I mean,
yeah, it's cool.
In the White Dwarf arc, which she does say, as you've mentioned, that the lower jaw is based on a prehistoric shark, but it also looks like the rasping tongue of a mollusk, which it uses to saw into the shells of other mollusks. And I can imagine that thing grabbing hold of some giant clam, and just rasping away until it gets at the gooey innards.
I think I like that because it looks less like anything else.
Yes, and it is a sea monster.
Yes, which carries on the Corsair theme, which is really cool. In fact, there's a little boat there. Look, I didn't see that before. It's quite.
Yes, but that's from there. Nice. If you've got the Warhammer 8th Edition rulebook, you've got the big multi-page spread where the Dark Elf Reavers are invading Ulthuan.
Hasn't it got a black arc in it as well?
It may well do.
Have a look at that. But yeah, the Charybdis is. Yeah, it's not bad. I can see a few bits and pieces that are quite nice about it. So what else would we get for the Dark Elves? Shadowblade?
Shadowblade's amazing.
He's really nice.
He is a tutorial in how less is more.
Yes.
I like how...
Simple elegance.
The cape. I mean, his armour, that's how you can imagine him hiding, because his armour sort of blends in with everybody else. You wouldn't imagine he needs it, because he's so fast. Well,
you can imagine, you can see the cape all the way around this sort of purpley sheened armour that they've done.
This picture that they've got on page 22 of the Shadow Warriors protecting the mage, and there he is, just coming up behind. He's about to plunge his blade into the back. Brilliant.
He's going to look a bit stupid in the unit, but there you go. What else have we got? I think that's it, maybe,
Witch Elves.
Oh, yes, of course.
Let's
do the Dreadspears because they're
Dreadspears.
Next in the book.
Go on, what did you say earlier?
I think I basically said that they look like slightly better versions of what's followed before.
Because the original kit didn't have swords. Did it have swords?
No, there's no swords.
Did it have the repeated crossbow?
Yeah, I'm sure you can make crossbows or spears out of it. The swords are a new option they've put back in.
They're a nice update, but I don't know why they've left out the female torsos, because there's no reason for them to do that. Maybe
all females are supposed to be witches now, I don't know.
Well, until we look at the book we won't.
Yeah, it could be. I don't like that head very much either.
This is the side parting emo head.
Picture 1 on page 15, if anybody has White Dwarf. It looks, should you say, not good?
He looks like an older elf who's in charge because he's older.
I just think
the
face
and he's got connections.
Is not good. But I think the most we can say about the Dreadspears is they're more expensive than usual, but they're not, anything to write home about, really. But if you want to talk about expensive...
They look nice in a unit, but you need to spend an awful lot of money to get a unit.
Yeah, you would. You know what else you need to spend a lot of money to get a unit of?
Witch
elves.
Now, I like this unit because of its parts potential.
Yeah.
I mean, you can easily turn these bodies into... What was the hell...
Heldrix Bloodbrides.
Heldrix Bloodbride, yeah. The heads for the Sisters of Slaughter, which are a new unit, I plan on using on Trueborn because they've got a really creepy, superior look to them.
They've got their tongue out. They remind me of Miley Cyrus.
No, they're not twerking.
I think it's almost twerking.
Well,
they are nice and... Yeah, exactly, that one is. Yeah, they are nice and dynamic. One of the main problems I've got with this unit...
cost.
Apart from the cost is £35, which obviously is GW. I know, seeing how far they can push the envelope, really, aren't they? Everybody wants witch elves. We've been waiting ages for witch elves.
That's part of the course now.
See how much they can get away with.
Avengers.
The Die Avengers were bad. The Die Avengers, were, what can I say, kind of a an exercise in how much of a mickey can we take, and really,
well, yeah,
I think
you go from being a 20-odd quid 10-man unit, and that's perfectly. I mean, they're no bigger. There's no more plastic on them. Guardians, you do need them in your army as a core choice because they bring that range and the amount of firepower that the Eldar need in a core troop. And then for some reason you make them more expensive and you halve the amount of unit.
I think the problem with this is their troops. You can't do that to troops. You need a lot of troops. They know you need a lot of troops.
The previous justification for having a high cost elite unit was that it's an elite unit.
They won't sell many of them.
You're not going to sell many of them.
So you need recruitment only from the sprue. Simple as that.
Yeah, but that justification is lost when you start turning a core unit.
And witch elves are now core.
An essential unit in your army into one of the most expensive things in your army.
Well, witch elves have broken new record. £35, 10 models.
The single... You were going to talk about the single piece body.
This is what's really upset me.
No, I'm going to defend Games Workshop on this piece. Because of what the model is, any seams at the waist would bulk out the waist for starters. Mm-hmm. They would limit the amount of poses you'd be able to get anyway, because you'd need for it to fit in all different positions. I think they can get away with that because they have made enough different bodies that you wouldn't really notice anyway.
I'll see your point there, although there are only 5 different bodies. I will, however, say that for £35 for 10 models, I do expect to get more than just different arms and different heads.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly reasonable.
Were these £25, I wouldn't mind having one-piece bodies. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, yeah, fair enough. They're £35. If I try and convert these into bits for a witch thing, I'm only going to get 10 models.
Well, hopefully there's going to be enough people who want witches that there'll be enough Trueborn heads lying around for me to...
Yeah, I think bit sellers are going to be the way to go really on that one, aren't they? So,
I think that's it for them.
That's it for the Dark Elves. So, yeah, what was next on our list?
Games Day.
You mean the Expo? It
was Games Day yesterday, or should we say Forge World's second Horus Heresy Weekender?
Yeah, exactly. There were no games.
Let's start at the beginning. Now, when was the last time you went to Games Day?
3-4 years ago.
And why did you go 3-4 years ago?
Well, all my mates were going for one thing. I'd not been to one. I mean, I last went to Games Day before I started working for the company.
I think the last Games Day I went to was the year after... No, it must have been 2 years after the Land Raider came out, the plastic Land Raider.
No, it's before that.
Because I remember going to Games Day, because it used to be that you would go to Games Day and there would be a section at the side of the building put away for the design studio. They would have at least 6 months worth of models.
Yep.
Not just one line, not just the next army release coming out, but pretty much everything. But this was when stuff was more eclectic. Releases were mixed up, shuffled. There wasn't a huge release for one army.
I remember exactly when I went, because when I went, the 3rd edition Tyranids, which weren't due out for about another 6 months, were the thing in the cabinet. So we're talking...
I was probably there as well then.
Maybe just before 3rd edition came out, I don't know.
But it was when that studio transparency disappeared.
Yes.
And then
Gav Thorpe was still working for the design studio back then. And
we went, and there wasn't much to do.
No.
Because we weren't all out into playing these the games they had.
I tried a couple, and you can.
They weren't proper games.
No, that's the thing. You get up there, and you're basically waiting in line to roll some dice and shout.
Against children.
Against children, there's no real game going on. You can't. And me and Lee are not the biggest for tactics or anything like that, or playing to win or anything like that. But there's no sense of real game there. You should know
that by now.
Yeah, you should. We're fluff monsters.
And I'm not against kids being there, because if you've got a section that's put aside for people of a certain age to play games, there's absolutely nothing wrong then. If you want to go in and join in, that's fine.
And for me, that was the most crushing thing about this year, is that if I was a parent who'd taken a kid along to Games Day this year, I would have been really annoyed, because I can't see any way for kids to have fun there.
Well, you would have also had to pay full price, because the
parent ticket.
The parent ticket was gone. So let's go back to the first point. So Games Day used to have a lot going on. Yep. You would have the retail section, and this was before Forge World was a big thing. You would have Golden Demon, which was all the way around the top of the...
Yeah, it was around the gallery, wasn't it? Around the top of the NIA.
You would have the games, if you want to play the games.
Yep.
Then you would have the studio section, which was quite big, and you'd have a lot of people there. There would be competitions going on.
Yep.
You would be able to talk freely with anyone. You would be able to leaf through their work. Downstairs, you would have authors.
Yep.
You would have video games.
Yep.
You would have the periphery licenses, like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Things like that going on downstairs. As well as, I think the seminars came a little bit later.
Yeah, the seminars definitely came along later.
As they phased out the studio, but you'd have talks with authors, certainly. And if you wanted to just take a step back, you would go up to the stands and just sit in the seats, open your stuff, have something to eat, before you went back down there.
And you could get stuff early.
Yeah, you could buy stuff early. I remember getting a homunculus for Dark Eldar before 3rd edition came out.
Yep.
And Mark...
I believe I did the same with the Ravener.
Mark got a Vindicare Assassin. Mark, you probably remember this. Confirm if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure that you came away with a Vindicare Assassin, 2nd sculpt.
The dude with the standing on the skull?
Yeah. Long before it appeared in the stores. If you could get through, because retail was still really busy back then.
It was.
So, if you had gone yesterday, because I've been talking to a few people, people have been talking about it on the Facebook page, the general consensus seems to be that Games Day was boring.
Yeah. I saw the picture. It looked like a lot of people queuing.
This is the picture which you can find on the Facebook page of 2003 versus 2013. Essentially, it was a big retail stand.
Yeah.
No games. Everything was fit into the main hall. Golden Demon was around the edge. You say you've heard reports about Golden Demon.
I heard that the lighting for the Golden Demon sections and the Armies on Parade was not very good, so people couldn't really see what was going on. I've also heard reports regarding some of the judging for Golden Demon that I'm not going to bring up here, but me and Lee will eagerly await, I don't know if eagerly is the right word, but we will await the White Dwarf with all of the Golden Demon winners in it.
We need to see that before we...
Yeah, and then I think we might have an opinion to formulate at that time.
We'll come back to it when it
appears.
We'll put them back burner.
I'm glad I didn't go to Games Day. It looked depressing.
Yeah, we've also been told that the organisation there seemed a bit iffy. If you went to there were some studio people there. There were big banners up. They had badges on, but they were just sort of sat there. They didn't have a lot of people going up to them. Maybe because people didn't realise who they were, because they weren't necessarily...
I'll tell you what, it's not just
waving their arms and saying, hey, come talk to us.
In my opinion, it's not just that. I think these days a lot less focus is put on things like who sculpts models and things like that. Who sculpted the Dark Elf models? Can you tell me?
Not really, but where is White Dwarf? While we're talking, I just want to leaf through and see if it says who sculpted.
It might say in the sales section, but
Neil Langdon did the Dread.
So we know that name.
Brian Nelson did the Witch Elves.
Brian Nelson did Shadowblade. That's why that's good.
Yeah. So whatever else about the Witch Elves, they do look nice. The sculpts.
So Trish and Aragon did the Characters and Hydra. Dow Stringer.
So here we go. Look, you've got the Cauldron of Blood.
Three different people
have worked with it. This was the problem with the Chaos Altar.
Oh, was it ever the problem with the Chaos Altar?
So many people were sculpting for that. There are some bits that are really, really nice, and there are some bits which are really bad, and the whole thing, despite what they were saying in the design notes, the whole thing doesn't gel together.
There was no communication. It was literally like they turned around and said, right, okay, you guys are sculpting the actual altar itself, you guys are sculpting the characters that go on top of the altar, and you're sculpting the massive ogre things that hold up the altar, and nary any communication between any of them.
I don't think it was that. I just think everyone had their own vision for it, and because there was no guiding vision, there was no senior designer, that everyone had their say, and the thing just came out looking like a little bit of everything.
I think everything in that release was a bit of a mess, actually. I'm struggling to remember what else came out then. But was it the Forsaken?
The Forsaken.
Oh, they're awful. They're gorilla arms.
Bit swervy.
I'm right now. I'm looking up at my my lovely Mias Miniatures Yizians.
Oh, I need to look at them.
And yeah, they are what Chaos really should look like. They really are.
They won't know.
Anyway,
but compare that to Forge World stand, and well, Forge World are very open about everything. Well, as open as we used to get from Games Workshop. They're very eager to talk to you.
Yep.
Everything was organised properly. You had a person sat behind a desk. They had a thing behind them saying who they were. They had a name plaque in front of them. They had some of their work there, and there was a long queue of people to go see them because they do try and engage with people. They do the odd.
If you go to a Forge World person and who's sculpted, say for example, the new Primarch, and speak to them, they're going to talk to you about it. They're going to talk to you about all the things regarding that Primarch. I think people were saying when they went to the the Horus Open Weekender thingy.
Yeah,
Fulgrim.
I've had a discussion with Magneto Churchill, who was talking to the sculptor of Fulgrim, and by that time we'd already seen the ultimate sculptor. He went into quite a bit of depth with Matthew about why the model looked that way and why he did the ultimate sculpt, which unfortunately isn't available. But you wouldn't get that with a Citadel sculptor.
No.
Listening to a conversation I had with someone who I'm not going to repeat, there was a little bit of looking over the shoulder from the Citadel team whenever they were asked to talk about something.
I don't think their opinions are their own all the time, unfortunately.
And possibly they're not in charge of the direction that a particular range may take. That there's a certain amount of edicts coming down from the Ivory Tower to say this is what we want to do. That.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got to do this.
Make it look good.
Yeah, the Centurions being a case in point.
Yeah, well,
everybody's seen that inside GW thing. What we need is Space Marines inside of Space Marines. That's pretty much what the Centurions turned out to be.
There is no need in the Space Marine army list for more tanks.
No,
more different types of Space Marine. Yeah. Because what hole does a Centurion fill? And if it was a hole there, was it there because it needed to be there? Because I'm a big believer that an army is sculpted and its flavour is sculpted as much as by the things it can't do, as by the things that it can do. So it seems that Space Marines particularly can do everything. Yeah. Whereas when we started playing, they were supposed to be this surgical knife blade that went in, came out again. It was very fast. Now they're bogged down by this massive vehicle pool. They've got these big, slow, lumbering Centurions.
Yeah. I've got Codex Review in the works at the moment for Space Marines. But one thing I will say is the Elites section is absolutely swamped now.
I haven't read it yet.
The amount of new stuff that coming out. Well, I'll tell you what. Do you want to save some time? Just read the 5th edition one instead.
No, I've got to read it properly. Because I've got pretty much every 40k rulebook that's ever come out, and I'm including Rogue Trader.
A lot of it is copy and pasted.
Yeah, well, that is the way with books.
Even the pictures on the actual the pages are the same as the 5th edition.
I'll come around to getting it. But yeah, back to Games Day. It appeared to be a big retail event rather than a big gaming event.
They made a big thing about shrinking it down. We're shrinking it down. We're increasing the demand. It's going to be a.
There was, I think it's 8,000 tickets normally available for Games Day, and you could still buy entry on the door.
Yep.
This year was 4,000 tickets. No parent tickets, which were a much cheaper version of a ticket, which allowed a parent to accompany full-paying children to the event. So a parent would be taking a full-price ticket if there was a huge rush, which it doesn't appear there was. And you couldn't buy entry on the door. So it was a lot smaller, and the reason for that is because Games Workshop stores are now one-man stores. Games Workshop cannot sacrifice the staff.
Now, if you close all your stores, you have hardly anybody at games day, really.
Yeah, well, you have to either close the stores, pay money for temps or cover. So there were no game tables running because there were no staff to run the game tables, and Games Workshop won't trust anyone to volunteer because there's all sort of liability issues.
Well, of course, yeah. But the thing is, if you're going to trim down games day, if you've got to trim it down, fair enough, trim it down, but make the value there.
It's hard to see
somehow
how it's not paying for itself, considering the price of a ticket and the amount of stuff that they sell.
Just make something out of it.
Well, even if it broke even, that would be enough. Because if it pays for itself, fine. There's no point in filling a hall with all the stuff that you can buy in stores normally, plus a few extra spare bits, and having Golden Demon and Armies on Parade and display. It's not a... Salute's not far away. We'll compare Salute 2014 to Games Day 2013. We'll definitely be heading to the next Salute. I'll be there working. So when is it, March? April 12th, I think it is. Okay. I will be working, so I won't actually get to go around. Oh, well. But if you do come say hello, because I'll need distraction. But yeah, you go, have a look around. I did have a quick run round for about 15 minutes last year, or this year rather, and there was an awful lot of stuff there. Awful lot of really nice stuff. There was even a guy who was playing a game with Zoids. Really? That's proper cool. Zoids. That's very cool. Game, but I didn't even get time to talk to him, so I was in a rush. But yeah, we'll compare. But unfortunately, I think Games Day's dead. Yeah. I'm going to say it. Games Day's dead. Mm-hmm. They don't even need to have it because Forge World Black Library, I've not heard much about what Black Library was doing there. I think it's something we need to have a look into because I'm sure they had something worth talking about. Yeah. But they have their open days now, which are much, much more exciting events than Games Day is. So, yeah, I'm getting pressed back after now. Yeah, let's talk about Games Day. Let's stop talking about it because it's just horrible. Wing. Let's talk quickly about Star Trek Attack Wing. I don't like it. Sorry, I'm going to put out. The models are awful. Let's explain what we're talking about first. There is a new game come out. Can't remember who does it. It's WizKids. WizKids, yeah. So that's a Hasbro subsidiary, I think. Is it really? That explains everything. Yeah, because Wizards of the Coast, I think, is a Hasbro subsidiary. I'll check this and apologise. Basically, you remember X-Wing. X-Wing came out. X-Wing hasn't gone, so X-Wing. Yeah. You know X-Wing. Okay, you remember when X-Wing came out. You remember it came out and you got this nice box with these the 2 TIE fighters and an X-Wing in it, templates, and obviously it's now carried on and you're getting massive ships and it looks like it's really going to go somewhere. It's very, very popular. So popular, in fact, that Fantasy Flight completely failed to predict any kind of demand for it and it was out of stock for ages. X-Wing is very hard to get hold of. Once the initial restocks have come out, they're gone. Yeah, that's it. They make so many and then they don't really account for making any more. The next restock, which is Wave 1, is not due till December. And we've just had Wave 3 come out and Wave 2 be restocked. And that's it till December now. Well, okay. So if you've got it, you know what we're talking about because it's great. If not, then it might be a while before you can get it. But Attack Wing is by a different company. It's the Star Trek version. How cool would that be? I've heard the game rules are really good. But the models are crap. The models are crap. They're worse than the Micro Machines. They are worse than the Micro Machines. And how long ago did they come out? Yeah, and what's worse about it is the fact that those were articulated in some places. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, the saucer section came off on the Enterprise D. Yeah, I've still got that knocking about somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I saw that they were doing a Star Trek version using the X-Wing rules, by and large, not changing a great deal. And I did have concerns because obviously X-Wing is a dogfighting game. Capital ships do not move in a dogfighting fashion. Not really. They are manoeuvrable to an extent, but they don't really. The game Star Trek, I think it's called Fleet Captains, is much more geared towards having this ship and how damage affects the
exactly,
power
and that's system. What should happen. Yeah. I've been playing a game called Faster Than Light, where you have a ship with systems and you have a crew and you have to send them out and you have to jump about. It's a really good game. I'll give it to you at some point. But it's X-Wing is a dogfighting game. I didn't think that was going to carry over to capital ships, but I've given it the benefit of the doubt. And then I walked into, I can't remember what it was, a shop somewhere, and they were selling the Star Trek models, and then I thought I'd have a quick look. And I think the thing that got me straight away, I mean, regardless of the fact that the models just aren't as nice as the pre-paints in X-Wing, is the fact that you pay the same for a 1.5-inch Constitution class Enterprise, i.e. Kirk's original ship, as you do for a massive, great big 5-inch Valdor
The
attack
Constitution
ship.
class isn't longer than the end of my thumb. It is that small.
Yeah, it is.
The rest of the ships aren't in scale to each other.
No, that's right.
So why don't they just the same size as a Galaxy, and it should be bigger.
So why don't they just make it bigger?
So the rules apparently quite good. Not played the game, not read the rules, don't know, but I've been told by a couple of people that the rules are quite good. It's just the models don't live up to.
Yeah.
They're just shoddy. The mould lines on them are very prominent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just.
And the paint's just not good.
No,
the paint's just not good.
Compare this to the Star Trek collecting.
Let's go get the D. Let's get
the D. Now, me and Alan are both subscribed to the Star Trek Starships collection, which is one of those magazine series where you get every couple of weeks.
Also, the bases aren't that great.
You get it every couple of weeks, and it comes with a magazine and a ship. And the magazine's quite decent. It's not very big, but it gives you a lot of behind-the-scenes information.
Well, we've got the Enterprise here, and I'll put a picture of it up on the Conclave page later so you can see it.
As well as a link to the collection itself.
Indeed.
You can see the other ships that come now.
It's about the size, just under the size of my hand.
Yeah, it fits in your palm.
Yeah. It's die-cast metal, so the source of it is metal, and the engineering section is plastic, and it's really nice. I have to say, the other stuff that came out afterwards isn't quite as nice, but I'm holding this one up. This is a really nice bit of kit. It looks
the paint on it,
good.
The paint scheme, the detail on it is amazing.
Yeah.
You've got
it's even got the Aztec marking on it.
It pulls out you can see the panels that went in to build the hull. You've got the windows, you've got the escape pods.
Nice clear plastic for the nacelles and the facade.
Now this costs less than one of the attack wing ships.
Sure does.
So you're much better off. You're probably a bit late now, but you might be lucky. Buying up these ships and then just using them with the rules. Because there's probably going to be a lot more ships in this magazine collection than there are going to be with attack wings.
70 in total.
At least.
So, and that's not counting the special ones they're doing, like the S9.
The big ones.
Have to keep an eye out for that. But,
which aren't going to be completely in scale, but then when you're playing a miniatures game, it doesn't really matter. Because the bases are kind of there. So
we digress a little bit. I mean, I was going to give Star Trek Attack Wing a chance because X-Wing is great, but I'll be honest, the second I saw those models, I was just like, no.
Well, I'm going to try and find a review someone's done of the rules and post it up on the Facebook page.
Cool. I've seen a few bits and pieces, like apparently some of the ships can move backwards, and there's some sick combinations out there because you can put any captain with any ship, more or less.
Picard doing Voyager.
Yeah, but no. Apparently, there's some really sick. Like if you put like Picard, Spock, and somebody else or something on one ship, the combinations are ridiculous. So, obviously, temporal causality's gone out the window there. Anyway, moving on. We've got...
Damnos. Shall we do Damnos quickly?
Yeah, go on and talk about Damnos.
I'm not going to do a huge review of Damnos. Basically, Damnos is the first standalone Apocalypse Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is similar to what you got in the Apocalypse book, which was Armageddon, I believe. Yes, it was. And this details the War for Damnos. It touches upon the original War for Damnos, which was Captain Sicarius, being roundly thrashed.
Yeah, basically getting
thrashed by the Necrons. Of whatever dynasties and that. Well, you've got the book. I can't remember.
Yeah, I've got Fall of Damnos up there somewhere.
Well, 25 years later, Marnus Calgar decided enough's enough.
If you want a job doing properly, do it yourself.
The defeat was publicised somehow, so the Imperium knows about the defeat. It's caused a horrible problem with morale. So Marnus Calgar decides to take half the Ultramarines back to Damnos to reclaim it, which they eventually do. They pretty much annihilate all the Necrons on that planet. And that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of fluff, which I was hoping there would be an equal amount of fluff as there was in Codex Eandon,
right?
Which had an awful lot of fluff.
Yeah.
And it was really good new fluff. And whilst it is new fluff for the majority, there isn't an awful lot of it.
But that must mean there's more rules and missions, right?
Well, the battles are based around the fluff, so the stories go into these set-piece missions. The missions are good missions. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. Again, you've got Cities of Death bits and pieces. I don't think you've got any Planet Strike bits and pieces. Which is a shame because no, I tell you what, I think there probably are because one of the first mission of the re-invasion may well be a Planet Strike.
They do try and include.
I haven't got the book here with me. I just thought we'd touch on it quickly. I think it was £20, which I think was a good price for the supplements to be.
Pretty sure it's £20.
I think this book's probably worth £12.
Really? Okay, yeah.
It's not a huge amount of content, and really, for Apocalypse games, which you're not going to play that often, if we're all honest with each other, then I don't think it's worth the full price which they're asking for it.
That's a shame. I mean, I saw the Apocalypse Warzone things. I was like, yeah, they could be good.
I like that they're trying to do something different. I like they're trying to build narrative things. It's not quite Persona 4, the big campaign box. We've got a nice big power station. You got a little booklet with all the...
Storm of Vengeance.
Storm of Vengeance.
Was great, that was.
We've got plans for Storm of Vengeance. We're not going to talk about it right now, but we've got plans for that. But yeah, stuff like that. I thought, we're getting there. And I was impressed with Codex Leander, the amount of background that it went to, and how the missions complemented the army.
Yeah, I really like some of the missions.
Emphasised the playstyle of that particular army. And I'm looking forward to seeing, because I haven't been buying the digital versions because I don't have an iPad, so it's not really worth it. But I will be getting the Farsight Enclave one.
Right.
So I'll see if it follows a similar vein or whether it's a divergence, whether maybe Codex Leander was a one-off. But we'll see. Yeah,
I don't know if they've had a problem with printing recently, but they seem to be releasing everything digital first and then printed later.
I wonder whether the digital wants to iron out the problems. The spelling mistakes, the grammatical mistakes.
Of which there are many.
There are an awful lot in Games of Course now these days. All these sort of things that when they come around to print it...
Yeah, it's a better version.
Yeah, and they don't need to print as many because they've gauged numbers with the digital release. They're a much more accurate idea of what they need for the printed release, but I still think they're a bit too expensive. Yeah, I think that charging £30 for a supplement is terrible. It's £60 for a Masterpiece figure, a Masterpiece Transformer, and they want and get two books for that money. And I need that Masterpiece Transformer money. There's something nice ones.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, stop charging us so much, Games Workshop. We have expensive hobbies apart from this one.
So good, but again a little bit depressing.
Yeah. I think that's the watchword for a lot of stuff that GW releases at the moment. It's not. Is it too expensive? Because a lot of it is. But a lot of people can afford it. Is it worth the money?
It's an abusive partner. We love it, but it just keeps punching us in the face.
It does, yes.
And then it's sorry.
We keep believing it'll change.
You keep saying sorry by bringing out something else that's nice. And its best friend Forge World comes around and says, we need a
GW abuse line, don't we?
We need to
get a phone up and just...
Don't call the police. And then you think, alright, I'll take it back. And then the following month you get another black eye and you have to say you've walked into a door.
I'm going to cheat on GW with Forge World.
Yeah.
The easiest way.
Well, the price disparity is getting to that point, isn't it?